So, let's talk about how an organization called SNS took a feeling we all know, frustration, and turned it into this incredible engine for innovation. It's a really cool story about building something amazing, literally from the ground up. It all kicked off with a moment I think every single one of us has had. You're looking at a system, maybe at work, maybe some app on your phone, and you just kind of stare at it and think, well, you think this. Yep, that thought right there. This makes absolutely no sense. For SNS, that wasn't just a fleeting thought. That moment of pure frustration, that was the big bang. The starting gun for what would become their entire method.
So that's where it all began, with this problem of sense. That feeling kicked off a major search. They were on a mission to find a better, more logical way to tackle their biggest problems, to build a world where common sense solutions were the norm, not some happy accident.
And to find that blueprint, they didn't just look around. They went straight to the top. They looked at the legends of innovation, places like Stanford's famous D School and the design powerhouse IDEO, the folks who basically wrote the book on human-centered problem solving.
And what they found was something called design thinking. Now I know, it can sound like just another corporate buzzword, but for them, it was the real deal. It was the missing piece of the puzzle. It gave them a repeatable, step-by-step process for solving tough problems by actually understanding the humans involved.
But here's the thing, right? A blueprint is just paper. It's an idea. To actually build the house, you need way more than that. They knew they had to build an entire culture, a whole ecosystem around this new way of thinking to really bring it to life. Which leads us to the next big step, building the system itself. This is where things get really interesting, because they went from just having an idea to creating a full-on operational model for innovation. Okay, so the foundation, the bedrock of this whole thing, rests on what they call the 3 Ps. Super simple, but powerful. First, you've got purpose. That's your why. Then comes the process. That's the how, which for them is that design thinking framework. And finally, and this is the big one, you need the right people to make it all happen. So what does the right people even mean? Well, they broke it down into this recipe of 3 key things. It starts with attitude. You need people who are curious and who take ownership. Then you layer on the skills, things like logical thinking and just being business smart. And the final ingredient is knowledge, deep technical expertise. The magic really happens when you find people who live in that sweet spot where all 3 overlap. All right, so with that foundation of people, purpose, and process in place, they built the rest of the structure on these 5 pillars. It kind of flows from the inside out. It starts with learning and creativity, which then feeds into personal career development. And then it looks outward to social responsibility and building key industry partnerships to stay sharp. And let's be clear about what they mean by learning. This is not about sitting in a classroom listening to abstract theories. Nope. This is about getting your hands dirty with the tools that companies are desperate for right now. We're talking AWS certifications, Databricks, real-deal engineering credentials. The goal is practical, valuable skills from day one. Okay, so you've got this awesome system, but how do you keep the wheels from falling off? Well, they use a pretty smart toolkit. For the big picture, they use OKRs to set those huge, clear targets. To break those down, they use SMART goals for the day-to-day grind. And to keep it fun, they use gamification. Think points, leaderboards, making progress feel like a win. So at this point, they've built this fantastic, human-powered engine. It's running smoothly. But they asked themselves, how can we make this go even faster? And the answer, of course, was to add an AI supercharger. I love how they put it. They decided to pour some jet fuel on the fire. And that's key. The fire was already burning bright. AI wasn't meant to replace their people. It was an accelerant, designed to make everything they were already doing bigger, better, and faster. So what does this AI actually do? This part is wild. For starters, it creates totally personalized career roadmaps for every single person. It can spin up custom practice tests and study notes whenever you need them. And maybe coolest of all, it plugs directly into incubators like Y Combinator to pull in real startup problems for their teams to solve. I mean, how incredible is that? Okay, let's pull back for a second. We've got the culture, we've got the system, and now we have this AI supercharger layered on top. All of these pieces, this whole intricate machine, it's all pointing in one direction, towards a single, massive mission. Which brings us to the big question, right? What is all this for? Why build this whole incredible fine-tuned engine for innovation? Because the ultimate vision, it's about way more than just teaching people skills. It's about changing how they think.
The goal is to install design thinking as like the core operating system in their brains, to cultivate this entrepreneurial spirit where you don't see problems, you see opportunities.
And this vision, it has a number, a very, very big number. Here it is. The mission is to launch 1,000, that's 1,000, new AI startups in only 10 years. So you see, this isn't just a training program. It's an engine designed to build companies.
And this slide just sums it all up so perfectly. Look at this transformation. They went from that initial feeling of frustration to a purpose-driven system, from having no real process to having a solid design thinking framework, from just random ideas to an AI-amplified growth mindset. They literally went from good enough to shooting for true excellence.
So really, the whole SNS story is this incredible blueprint. It's a testament to what's possible when you make a conscious choice to systematically replace that feeling of frustration with a solid framework.
But it's not just the framework, is it? You build that solid, human-centric system first, and then you pour the jet fuel on it. It's that 1-2 punch of a great system plus the right tech that makes it all click.
And that leaves all of us with a pretty powerful question to chew on. Think about it. What's that huge, audacious goal in your world, maybe at your job, or even just for yourself, that might just be one good system away from actually happening?